like my garbage truck. This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden. I think we're going to have a big victory, and I think 250 million people in this country are going to be very happy because we're going to bring the country back. We're a nation in decline, very, very serious decline, and we're going to bring our country back. Hello, everybody. This is Donald Trump, and 250 million people are not garbage.
So I guess you could say things are not technically going as well for Kamala and her camp these last couple of days. Yes, no thanks to Joe Biden. But I mean, as far as expectations, I guess that depends on what side you're on. But I mean, come on. They didn't really like Kamala as vice president in the first place, did they?
There are reports that say that you have the lowest approval rating of any vice president.
Well, there are polls that also say I have great approval ratings.
I think she was arguably Biden's worst political decision.
They don't like her. There's lots of reasons they don't like her.
Kamala Harris's approval rating is now at 28%, which is an historic low for any modern vice president.
We're hearing it from mainstream media, one outlet after another, one leak after another. That Kamala Harris is the worst vice president ever, the worst politician ever.
We don't see the vice president. What people are saying to me, and I'm sure they're saying it to you, where's the vice president? Some White House officials are feeling that she came off looking unprepared for inevitable questions about when she might visit the southern border.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
The point that Lester Holt was making was obvious to anyone else who was watching this interview, which is that the issues at the border are inextricably linked with the portfolio that she's been given.
The border is secure. We have a secure border.
Bidenomics is working.
Prices have gone up. And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up.
He picked Kamala Harris to be his running mate. She was ranked and is ranked as the most liberal senator in the United States Senate. So he could have gone the other way, but he went to the left.
Joe Biden is running for re-election, and I will be his ticket mate. Full stop. Full stop. That's it.
That's part of the reason why I was confused in all of this, you know, these shenanigans about the Joy campaign and how everybody was just all of a sudden rallying behind her. But I get it. You know, a lot of people are that scared of Donald Trump where they feel like they just had to do so to save face and so forth, right? But I mean, come on, man. Come on. You had to be a little, you know, a little, how can I say it? A little at ease, you know, from all the script reading.
Victim of crime. Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? The only question I ever ask is, are you okay? And sadly, we have seen over the last 2 weeks since Hurricane Helene, It really is good to be back in Wisconsin. It is so good to be back in Michigan. Listen, let me tell you, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. And listen, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. I took on perpetrators of all kinds. And had a summer job at McDonald's. So hear me when I say, hear me, Detroit, when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win! Should never again stand behind the
And let's not forget all the word salads. Oh, boy.
Okay, I can first.
And part of why we are going to win is because we remember and we are smart, and we know what's happening, and we're not falling for the gaslighting, and we're not falling for the okey-doke. We'll work together and continue to work together to address these issues, to tackle these challenges, and to work together as we continue to work operating from the new norms, rules, and agreements that we will convene to work together on. This is a matter of urgent priority for all of us, and I know we will work on this together. Work, 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 work. It was an extraordinary day that Sunday when the president called me, and I instinctively understood the gravity of the moment, the seriousness of the moment. I didn't predict or know exactly how that day would play out, and obviously now it's been 3 months since I've been at the top of the ticket, actually 3 months as of yesterday. You know what also excites me, among the many things, I'm excited about electric school buses. I love electric school buses. I just love them for so many reasons. Maybe because I went to school on a school bus. You know, I think that there's a duality to the nature of democracy. When it's intact, oh, it's so strong. And it's very fragile. We're too busy watching what you're doing to hear what you're saying. I grew up, we grew up a little neighborhood church in Oakland, 23rd Avenue Church of God, and I was raised to believe in a loving God.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong.
So when we think about what's at stake in this election, whoa, it's packed with some stuff. It's packed with some fundamental stuff.
When she doesn't want to answer a question, her habit is to kind of go to word salad city, and she did that on a couple of answers. One was on Israel. Anderson asked a direct question, would you be stronger on Israel than Trump? And there was a 7-minute answer, but none of it related to the question he was asking.
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. This is an incredible day.
Okay, I can first.
And let's not forget about all the boos and the chants, we want Trump, because somebody in her campaign told an itty-bitty lie about Beyonce performing at her Texas rally. Ooh.
Joe Biden is asleep. Kamala is at a dance party with Beyonce.
Which only ended up being a few minutes of Beyonce, speaking as a mother. And the possible final nail in the coffin came from the very person who was supposed to be holding her down, looking out for her, supporting her, as her successor.
Tonight, there's new reporting about Joe Biden and a moment that explains why things are the way that they are. Sources tell CNN that the president is in do no harm mode, stapling himself to the bench at the direction of the Harris campaign. Well, even from the White House, he may have done some pretty significant harm in the final week of the campaign. Just listen to this, and you be the judge.
And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of seen as unconscionable. and it's un-American. It's totally contrary to everything we've done, everything we've been.
Joining us now, Franklin Leonard. He is in our fifth seat. He's the founder and CEO of The Blacklist. That was a moment, and not a moment that the Harris campaign wanted. I want to just read. This is Biden on X trying to clarify all of this. He says, earlier today, I referenced to the hateful rhetoric about Puerto Rico spewed by Trump's supporters at his Madison Square Garden rally as garbage, which is the only word I can think of to describe it. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable. That's all I meant to say. Say, though, Bakari, he was in his house, the White House. He was in his house doing this, and the reporting is that there are places that he can be useful, but he's not everywhere like you might expect a sitting president to be for his vice president.
I don't know that I would expect this president to be everywhere in this moment. I mean, look, a critical element, any coach will tell you, any CEO will tell you, a critical element of running a team and winning is assessing the strengths and weaknesses of your team members and making sure you allocate them in the right way. Joe Biden has never been a big arena speaker. He's never been the most fluid speaker. And by the way, as someone who had a stutter growing up, it's very obvious to me that there's an apostrophe at the end of supporters there. He was referring to the garbage spewed by supporters, not simply the supporters themselves.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
But Joe Biden has been on the campaign trail. He's best getting ice cream in Maryland like he was today. He's best showing moments of empathy in Arizona like he was last week. He's best with union folks as he was in Pittsburgh last week as well. You use people where they are best. You put Obama in a big arena, you put Michelle in a big arena, and you put Joe Biden in front of a bunch of union people doing retail politics.
Let me just accept the most charitable framing of this, which you just gave.
Yeah.
Why is he sitting in front of a laptop at the exact same moment Kamala Harris is out on his backyard trying to give the closing argument to her campaign? What in the world is he doing? Now, I don't accept your framing of it personally because I actually do believe he, Harris, the Democratic Party, and most of their campaign do believe that half the country is garbage. They've also said people who go to Trump rallies are Nazis. And so it's pretty apparent the disdain with which they hold half of the country in.
That's not true. The party already litigated it in Kamala's speech tonight.
But as a tactical matter today,
no, but you don't just get to say
why in the world is Joe Biden giving remarks at the same time as Kamala Harris?
Now I totally understand why he's been nowhere near around the campaign trail. But it's like, yo, if you can't even get that shit right, like they have to make sure that you stay out of the way from messing up like this, then who's been doing this whole president thing? I mean, it can't be Kamala because, I mean, let's just keep it real. She doesn't really do too good when it comes to issues. You know what I'm saying? Especially teleprompter issues.
Remember his number, 32. Today we got 32 days until the election. So 32 days. 32 days. Okay, we got some business to do. All right. 32 days. And we know we will do it.
Now it's only 4 days. Four of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I was voting for Kamala, I'd probably be as shook as a black dude in a room full of what liberals now call people at a Trump rally.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally, a rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners. When a Jewish protester rushed the stage, the Associated Press reported, quote, instantly, a dozen or more stormtroopers set upon him, knocking him down and beating him as he held his head in his arms. Most of his clothing was torn from his body. Later, he was booked for disorderly conduct. Now, against that backdrop of history, Donald Trump, the man who has threatened to use the military against opponents he calls enemies from within, who has threatened to use the troops to quell what he says are lawless cities, and to use those troops to carry out mass deportations of immigrants. is once again turning Madison Square Garden into a staging ground for extremism.
Now I will say Trump has said some wild shit over the years, past and present, but to compare him to Hitler and his rallies to Nazi rallies, come on, man. That's some wild shit to say your damn self. I mean, come on. Let's be for real. Is the dude really anything close to Hitler?
He's Hitler. And then they say he's a Nazi. I'm not a Nazi. I'm the opposite of a Nazi.
And like I say, if you disagree, if you want to compare Trump to Hitler, I dare you to do that to a Holocaust survivor or a descendant of a Holocaust survivor, and watch how quick they spit in your face. Yeah, watch how quick they spit in your face. Because technically what you're saying is, with Trump not being attached to no type of genocide, no hand in the murders of millions of people. So what you're saying is, by saying he's the next best thing to Hitler, you're saying that Hitler really wasn't as bad after all. But that's not what you're saying, are you? Now, I know selling out Madison Square Garden scared a lot of Democrats, a lot of them. But you got to admit, the way they covered that rally, man, was a little full of shit, right? And I mean, let's talk about the comedian, Tony Hinchcliffe, a roast legend, popular by demand. Just went viral not too long ago for roasting Tom Brady, Kevin Hart, Gronk, so forth and so forth. But out of the whole rally, out of his whole stand-up set, if you what you want to call it, and I understand, you know, some folks got a little, you know, offended. But I mean, that's the only thing, or one of the few things they chose to take out of that whole rally, right?
A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there.
When a white person tells a racist joke about a black person or a black community, you usually want to ask the black people, right? Well, look, that joke that they're pushing all over the airwaves, they made Joe Biden step out of himself and say some shit about Trump voters being, trash. I thought it was important for Puerto Ricans to be asked how they felt about the joke.
Live from the garden.
The rally
Live
was
from
great.
Puerto
Trump
Ricans
is the
for
best.
Trump 2024.
Yo, now that I got my fellow Puerto Ricans, obviously what happened there tonight, everybody's talking
Beautiful,
about it.
epic.
But the Puerto Rican joke, the garbage island stuff, do you guys even give a fuck about that?
No,
I don't. No, I don't.
I don't even pay a mind. I don't even pay attention to it.
Puerto Ricans for Trump. Lock in. Stay locked in on the go.
I've already had a few people tag me in the videos of the comedian today at the Trump rally insulting Puerto Rico, or what they felt like was an insult. As a Puerto Rican American myself, my dad grew up in Puerto Rico. I was not insulted by this in the very least. Number one, this guy is a comedian. Number two, the clip that they don't show you from right before that is him joking with Latino Americans about a bunch of stuff in our culture. And if you know anything about a Latino American or a Hispanic American, we are our worst critics. We harass and make fun of each other. Or if you gave two shits about Puerto Rico or learned anything that's going on there, you would know that this guy's not talking about Puerto Rican people. He's talking about the island of Puerto Rico, which has a massive pollution problem. Tons of trash washes up on this beach every single day, and it looks like a landfill. And there's been a huge problem there since the last hurricane. You know, the one that wiped out people's houses that they did nothing to help with? What a cheap shot they're trying to make while Kamala Harris is at an African-American church in Pennsylvania with a whole new accent she picked up today. But guys, it's not working. It's just not working. Don't come after us Latino Americans, and definitely don't come after us Puerto Rican Americans, because we ain't here for your guys' bullshit. New York City is turning red. Trump will be the next president of the United States, and you guys are going to have to learn how to live with it.
Now, I'm not saying there weren't no Puerto Ricans that weren't offended, and they have every right to feel offended if they want to. I mean, it was a little cringe, you know, and according to reports, the joke fell flat in his face when he said it, right? But when it comes to me, man, two things. When I heard he was a roast comedian, I said, okay, I get it. When I saw he roasted more than just Puerto Ricans, he roasted Jews, he roasted Muslims, he roasted our black asses, I said, okay.
I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson. Feels good in here. The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Oh, okay. Hillary Clinton said that this is a Nazi rally here today. Can you believe that? For the most anti-war president of my entire lifetime, and she calls him Hitler. Let me remind you, Hillary, it was your husband who shot innocent people, or as he called them, interns. Yeah, Hillary, I bet you did not see that one coming. By the way, if I commit suicide in 3 weeks, I didn't. I mean, it's just obvious to me who the right candidate is. There's a guy out here dodging bullets. It is unbelievable, right?
Because see me, I'm a Dave Chappelle fan. Dave Chappelle is in my top 5 all time, and Dave Chappelle is one of the most cringe comedians that have ever existed.
Gotcha, bitch.
So let's be serious here, okay? Trump is not Hitler, and his supporters are not Nazis. At least not all of them. And Kamala is not black. So let's stop with all the insults. Hold on. What did I just say? Hold on. Okay, so let's be serious here. Trump is not Hitler, and his supporters are not all Nazis, okay? And Kamala Harris is qualified. She has been vice president, okay? She is more qualified than 98% of Americans, whether you like her or not, whether you think that she has it all or not. She knows what it's like inside the White House. She knows what it's like inside the Oval Office, the Situation Room, or whatever they call it, okay? She's more experienced now, all right? So, just cut her a little bit of slack, okay? I understand the script reading and the word salads and, I get it. And I understand to all the men out there who are very religious, who follow a God that tells them that the men are head of households, and they're kind of like, well, hell, if my God tells me that the man is the head of household, then what makes you think I will allow or be cool with a woman being the head of a country, of all households? But just fall back, okay? You don't have many options. And it's our fault. It's the American people's fault because we allowed it to get to this point, to where you can have to choose between a robot and Trump. And man, the robot is making Trump look fucking hilarious, a comedic genius, a legendary troll, may I say. Yeah. But, what can you say, man? What can you do? You got 4 more days, y'all. 4 more days. What are you going to do? Sit in your ass or cast a vote? Y'all let me know in the comments, okay? Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Peace.
The forgotten party.
My fellow citizens,
It is strong. It's my duty to report the true problems of our nation.
Vigorously developed, this resource will be of great benefit.
Where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause.
I will be eternally grateful for your support.